Hi, this is Gabby here from Confidence After Cancer, and I hope this finds you well. This week's topic is all about something that's quite a new expression that I've heard, and it's called the winter arc. And I don't know if that's something you've heard of before, but it's new to me, and I'm going to talk about what it means to me and how I'm learning to embrace it. And I like to think of the winter arc, if you like, as like a rainbow, a bridge from one season into another. In Manchester, we've had very unusually mild weather in October. It's been quite warm, really. Some days I've been out and about. It's been warm. And also, we've had lovely blue skies. Now we've gone into November. The clocks have gone back, and it really feels, particularly in the evenings, like we're getting dark nights. And as I say, sometimes in the past, this has been something I've been really unhappy about, and I've been quite miserable in winter. But now I'm learning to embrace it, and I've got some tips and some strategies that might help you to enjoy this time of year more than you have done in the past as well. So I really want to talk about navigating the winter season and how important it is from a physical, emotional, and a mental health perspective. We know that winter can bring unique challenges, but also opportunities for well-being and growth. So it is a challenging time of year for many people, but it's actually, if you think about the seasons, and I've talked about this before, I've got friends who live in hot countries where one of the things they really miss about the UK, they miss about England, is the seasons, because if you're in a hot country, it might sound lovely where everything's sunny and warm all the time, but the seasons actually can be such an enriching part of our lives as well if we learn to adjust to them and work with them rather than resisting them. And naturally, the way that nature works, you can learn a lot from nature. The importance of winter as a natural time to slow down and reflect can be so important as well. And I think for a lot of busy people that I know, they struggle with this, thinking, well, I don't want to slow down. I don't want to be being lazy and doing nothing. But it's not about that at all. It's about embracing the time, the seasons. Everything has a season. Sometimes are slower, sometimes are more energized. Spring, if you think about when spring comes and all that nature is bursting into life and the bulbs are all coming up from the ground and the trees are all, the leaves are coming back on the trees and flowers are coming into your garden. That's a high energy time. Yeah. And at the minute, the energy just feels slow, but you can use that to your benefit and by going with it. So I'm going to talk about how I do that now. But I do recognise that winter can feel isolating or challenging, particularly if you are recovering from an illness. When it's dark, when it's wet, when it's cold outside, you may not feel like socialising with other people. And I'm going to talk about how you can cope with that as well. But I do think that winter is an opportunity to reset, to assess your personal goals and check in on your emotional and your mental well-being. Okay, so one of the big things that I've learned to do is to create a cozy and restful environment at home. So I've got lovely cozy cushions. In the evenings now, particularly when it's dark, I like to light a scented candle. I've changed my duvet covers. My bedding on the bed now has gone away from being cool, crisp cotton into more the fleecy covers that you get now. They're everywhere. And also the other thing that I like to do as a nurturing thing is to pop a hot water bottle into my bed to warm my feet up before I get into bed, and I love doing that. The other thing that I would suggest to you is think about ways that you can connect with other people, how you can combat seasonal loneliness if that's something that applies to you. I've recently joined a yoga social club, which is wonderful. So we meet for yoga and then we have a drink and a chat afterwards. And I've met some wonderful women doing that. Also in my local area, there's walking clubs. Our local park, which is quite lovely, has got a litter picking club where volunteers get together on a Saturday morning or one morning and they do some gardening. They tidy up the gardens and they pick up the litter. So there's lots going on in the local area. And I don't know if you're the same, but near me, you can find all these things on Facebook, which is a mixed bag of positivity, I must say. But these clubs are actually quite wonderful for connecting with other people to combat any seasonal loneliness or sadness that you might be feeling. The other thing that I would ask you to think about is prioritizing your physical health in winter. So colder weather and reduced daylight can impact your physical health in quite substantial way. It can make your energy levels feel low. And I've said that before, this is a time for resting and not feeling guilty about that. But when you are like that as well, it can suppress your immune system. And I know there's lots of coughs and colds going around at the minute. I know loads of people who are suffering with that. Lots of people seem to be suffering with their immune system. So it's a time for really nurturing yourself, thinking about what can you do. Vitamin D levels, obviously, we get vitamin D from sunlight. So we're not getting sunlight in the winter months. And I would urge you, part of my plan for staying well is I have regular blood tests for vitamin D. And this is something that I got from the Penny Bronze Centre in Bristol. They told me, a GP told me, their doctor told me that many people that are diagnosed with cancer are actually vitamin D deficient. And so one of the simplest and easiest things you can do if you have got low vitamin D levels is just take a supplement. It's quite cheap and easy to do. I recommend some brands are better than others. If you want to pop me a message, I can tell you which brands I recommend. I'm not here to sell you vitamin D. I'm here to say, talk to your doctor. If you think it's something that might be affecting you, ask for a blood test for your vitamin D levels. You might be surprised at how low your vitamin D levels are. Okay. So some of the challenges you might have in winter as well are staying active if you're not getting out as much, and supporting your immune system as well is something that you might have to make an effort to be conscious about this. But there is a lot you can do. There's a lot you can empower yourself by taking care of your fitness. So YouTube is your friend here. If you want to do exercise at home, there's so much on there. Just do a search, find an instructor or somebody that's on there that you like the sound of their voice, you like the music that they use. Yoga, Pilates, all sorts of fitness routines. You can start off with just some gentle stretches if there's something that you're not used to. But I'd really recommend yoga and Pilates for so many reasons. And, one of my mentors, Anna Anderson, I will probably talk about her story in another podcast episode, because she's so much that life lessons that I've learned from her. But one of her sayings is she found herself on a yoga mat. She really changed her life around by doing yoga. And so, I'm not a yoga expert in any shape or form, but I do yoga regularly, and I do find my mental health more than anything has been improved by that. And I can feel it's making my body stronger as well, which is always a good thing. So think about your diet as well at this time of year. I know sometimes it might be tempting to eat comfort food, and you can eat healthy comfort food. Homemade soups are just wonderful for getting lots of goodness into you, your veggies, your 5 a day, which a lot of nutritionists are now saying, 5 a day is not enough, but whatever. By getting those vegetables into you, by thinking about the fruits that you like. I've learned how to make a green curry quite recently, and it's got tons of veggies in it, and I love that. I do add chicken to it because my husband's not keen on vegetarian food, but there's so much comfort food that you can make or you can buy that is really good for you as well. So you don't have to resort to eating things that are not very good for you. If you want to have a piece of chocolate cake or you want to have a treat, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. It's just that's not something you want to be eating all the time. You want to be eating food that's nurturing you, food that's going to be making you better. Okay. Get outside in the sunshine when you can, even winter sunshine. Just getting out for half an hour and getting your face, looking at the sky always makes me feel better. But remember what I said about vitamin D supplementation. Ask your doctor for a test. Okay. So you may have heard about the thing called seasonal affective disorder, SAD, and how it can affect mood and motivation. And, there are a lot of scientific studies now that prove that this is a thing. SAD, the winter blues is a thing. That doesn't mean you have to let it rule your life. It just means, again, you might need to be more conscious of some tips and some strategies of keeping yourself safe, of looking after your mental health and your physical health. And if you are recovering from illness, you might feel these effects even more intensely. That doesn't mean it's going to be like that for life. But if you're recovering from an illness or you've had something wrong with you in the last few months, just be mindful about this and understand it's quite it's okay to feel sad sometimes. I know sometimes we feel, oh, if I'm sad or I'm a bit fed up, I need to do something to get out of that. But sometimes just sitting with that sadness and realizing, like everything, is not forever. Hopefully it's going to move. If you are feeling sad and you're feeling depressed for any long period of time, you need to speak to a professional. I get that. But just having a couple of days where you feel a bit weepy or a bit sad, that's part of life as well. As Dolly Parton says, if you want the rainbow, you've got to put up with the rain. And it's true in nature. We have the highs, we have the lows. But as long as it doesn't go on for any prolonged period of time, go with it. Allow yourself to feel sad and treat yourself. I always say this to people that are feeling sad. Treat yourself like you would a sick child. What would you do? You'd nurture them. You'd give them lovely food. You'd give them warm baths. You'd give them cuddles. You'd encourage them to listen to nice music or watch a film that would cheer them up. The other thing that some people like as well, if they are feeling sad, is light therapy. And you can get these sad alarm clocks now and lights for your bedroom. And I haven't got one, but I know people that have got those who really swear by them and say, yeah, they do work and they make them feel better. So that might be something you want to explore. Daily habits to improve your mood might be something like gratitude journaling or engaging in hobbies, crafts. People, so many people that I know, I'm not a particularly crafty person or an artistic person, but I do like to write. I write a blog. And obviously I do my podcast. If you listen to this, you know this as well. So there's different ways of being creative. There's different hobbies that you can take part in. So think about something like that that's going to take you away from that sad feeling, something that's going to help you to improve your mood. And practicing mindfulness and meditation is a great way to improve your emotional resilience. It really does. And studies have been shown time and time again. And it can just be 5 minutes a day if you want to meditate. And you don't have to do special things or do special poses. Just sitting quietly, looking at a candle, put your phone away. So many people are on the phone these days and they've learned the habit. They've learned the art of just being alone with themselves. Just sitting for 5 minutes, looking at a candle and focusing on your breath in and out can really help to soothe your mind. Learn to soothe yourself. Okay, so I talked before about thinking about not feeling guilty if you want to rest, if you're feeling tired, or you just listen to your body and think, yeah, today I just really need to stop rushing about. I do need to rest. Don't feel guilty about that. I know a lot of busy people do, but winter is the perfect season to embrace this. Okay, so view rest as part of your growth arc rather than downtime or stagnation. Even, top athletes at the top of their game, they have rest days because they know how important it is. You can't be on the go. You can't be stretching. You can't be growing all the time. You can't be busy all the time. Rest and relaxation and good sleep. And again, I've talked about the importance of good sleep in another podcast. It's all part of your overall well-being. Okay, so ideas for some self-care rituals in winter may be warm baths. I love a warm bath. A shower in the morning always wakes me up, but before bed I do like to have a warm bath. I do like to put some Epsom salts into it because I think that's a great way of getting magnesium into your system. I do take a magnesium supplement as well because I do find that helps me to sleep better. Cozy reading, so that means reading something that's feel good for me, not something that's too stimulating or that's something that's thought-provoking, but something nice to read, or a film or music before bed. Nurturing hobbies like crafts, all these things that can make you feel better. If you are somebody who is into journaling, you might want to reflect on a question like, well, how can I use this time of rest to prepare for spring? We know the seasons change all the time. It's not going to last forever. So when it is spring next year, what would you like to create in your life? What would you like to be different? All questions that are good to reflect on in this time of year. So you don't have to rush. You don't have to do anything, but you might want to think about putting some plans in place. So really what I've talked about is embrace this time of year, embrace the self-reflection. Think about maintaining your physical and your emotional health. That doesn't mean you have to go out running a marathon every day, but find value in rest. I love as well at this time of year, as I always do, but even more so at this time of year, going for a really good massage with a good therapist. really helps me as well. But I want you to think about this winter arc. Think about it as a bridge from one period of your life into another. That really always helps me when I'm feeling like stuck, or I'm feeling like I'm not in a good place, or I'm feeling I'm not really sure about this where I am now. This is not permanent. Yeah, this is temporary. So think about this arc, the beginning of this rainbow into the next phase of your life. What do you want the next phase of your life to be doing? For me, I want to be growing and learning all the time, but it's good to have some downtime as well. Time for reflection, time for learning about life. Okay. Reading interesting books, watching interesting films. So think about how you want to spend your winter and any positive changes that you'd like to carry forward. So I'd love to hear from you. If you want to share anything about your winter self-care routines or reflections, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. And I will be, as we're coming up to the end of the year now, as we're getting into November and December, thinking about the new year. And I'm not massive on New Year's resolutions, but I do like the beginning of a new year, a new start, a new cycle of life, things changing all the time. Nothing stays the same is one of my friend's favourite sayings. When you're going through difficult times, remember that nothing stays the same. You can change. You can create the life of your dreams. I'm living proof of that. And I work with so many people who are creating the life of their dreams. Doesn't mean that everything is perfect 24/7. It means when you get a challenge, you've built your resilience to deal with that challenge. And I'd always encourage you to set goals. Dream big, my darling. And thank you so much for listening to my podcast. It really means the world to me. Reach out if I can help you with anything, and stay safe and stay sane. Take care. Bye-bye.